Okay, we're back again. We don't really know if it's going to be a new file or if it's a continuation of the older one. But my main man photographer got a little tuckered out, so here we go. Took a break and we're on our way exiting VFW. And we're going to roll this thing, and just to give you another aspect, continue to roll it, just to give you another aspect of the way it looks exiting the VFW and going back on Cedar Neck Road. I'd like to point out again that I'm pretty sure this whole area is zoned about 90% residential. As I could determine from the tax maps, 134-05, 134-09, and 134-13, the maps that are available at Planning and Zoning, Sussex County, depicted about 10 commercially zoned parcels or properties, and one which is B1. I don't know what B1 means, but if I'm not mistaken, the Bethany Mini Storage, which is a part of this Castaways project, I think is about 9 acres. That would be the largest commercial spot or parcel on the Cedar Neck Road Peninsula. Here we are again going through James Farm Ecological Preserve. All these trees on the right, by the way, were, I wouldn't say all of them, but a greatly many of them were planted, I think about 10 years ago, 10, 12 years ago. And they've all grown to, I believe, maturity since then. There's a shot of the sign for the James Farm Ecological Preserve, and I believe it's managed by the Delaware Center for Inland Bays. Here's the tennis courts again on the right. The reservation community on the left, this property, and as we go down this way on Cedar Neck Road, are within 200 feet of the proposed site. The house on the left, if you're able to see it, really nice house, was just redone and expanded within the last few months. All of these houses, these ramblers and that on the right, they're all within that. As you can see, they're all within that 200-foot zone because the property that's proposed for development is right across from it. Good example of, here we go, they don't know we're taping them either. But as the day goes on, particularly on the weekends, it gets pretty heavy in here with mopeds, pedestrians, people walking their dogs. That was Cedar Landing on the right, a relatively large community. I think it's got about 121 parcels. Yacht Basin Road, which goes out to White Creek, has a big marina there with houses on the left. We have an RV center, condominiums over here on the left. A real mixture of residential. Hickman Road right here on the left goes to Fresh Pond, which is a part of the Delaware Seashore State Park. If I'm not mistaken, the state of Delaware bought that property, and up all the way to Highway 1, which we're about a mile as the crow flies, I believe, from Highway 1. They bought all that and turned it into Delaware Seashore State Park. I think that was in the late 90s. Bethany Grand recently completed, probably 2-3 years ago. Murray Estates, if I'm not mistaken, there are about 84 parcels in Murray Estates. Pine Tree Campsite, they've got campsites. A lot of them in there, I believe, rent a space for the whole year and obviously just use it in the summers and that. Bayside of Bethany Lakes on the right, I have no idea how many people are in there or how many. It's a spin-off of Bethany Lakes, which is on the left. And these two properties probably came about in the last 8-10 years. I have a little situation here with memory, but it's somewhere around there. Okay, when we get up to the lights, we're going to hang a left Salt Pond will be on the right. Salt Pond is a great planned residential community, and I believe it was started, I'm going to guess, probably between 15 and 20 years ago. I know when we first came here, January 1996, it was already starting. Here's Cedar. We're going east now on Fred Hudson Road 360. As I mentioned earlier, Salt Pond is on the right. There's got to be a good 500 residents in there. Bethany Lake's on the left. I don't know. I can't even guess how many people are there. If you see on the right here, it's hard to see because they haven't gotten to mowing the grass yet. They just put in a walkway for residents. And as you can see, Teeters, when they came in, they expanded the shoulder there. And here's the original shoulders for Fred Hudson Road on our way to Highway 1. This is all wetlands in here. There's been a continuing issue for Salt Pond, by the way, of how much is wetlands in there and how much isn't. It's my understanding that wetlands in this area are subject to both state as well as federal laws, I believe, on the books that regulate that. Along with this path that you see on the right, we're going to come up to a point, in fact, I think it's coming up right now, where it ends, which is, I think, McCoy Street, which goes another entrance into Salt Pond. But notice the pedestrian crossing here, and they just built this, and it's a walkway going back into. We haven't had the opportunity to go in it yet, but I've been told by folks it's just beautiful back there. Please note the shoulders here. The traffic gets very heavy on this road, and the speed limit's 40. On any given day, you'll see people, doing 45. Here are the girders. What do we have here? We may have 3 feet as a shoulder. It gets a little worse up here. A lot of times at this point, there'll be cars parked along the side here because they're out in this little canal here fishing for minnows. I've seen parents with groups of kids here, and when you got a lot of traffic, bicyclists, mopeds, and all this stuff, it gets a little, to be honest, it gets a little heavy. Here we're coming up to, oh my gosh, Highway 1. If I'm not mistaken, this is the beginning of Delaware Seashore State Park on the left. This Seashore State Park goes all the way to the wetlands, which abut the proposed project. We're going to run this thing a little longer. Here's a street light. When we first came here in January 1996, this street light and the street light we just went through back there where the two roads converged to get to Cedar Neck Road, these lights would be functional in the summer, and then probably cranking up around a little bit before Memorial Day, and then they would stay functional until sometime after Labor Day. Then they would all at both of these intersections, these lights would switch to flashing yellow for the off-season. That certainly ended, if I'm not mistaken, about the time that they expanded Route 26 from Ocean View to Bethany Beach, and where Central Avenue North and Fred Hudson Road became an alternate site, an alternate detour, or a detour for accessing Highway 1. That became super popular, and it's used by so many people so they don't have to drive into the congestion of Bethany Beach. It's also the popular route for the Millville Fire Department when they make their runs from their point of responsibility, which is the Millville Ocean View area, up to Beebe Medical Center up at Lewis, Delaware. We're going to go a little ways up here and roll this, just to let you know that from this point left or westward is Delaware Seashore State Park, and there are a couple by this water tower, a couple new residences popping up, and then further up Ocean Ridge West and a couple others. Other than that, that's all Seashore State Park till you get to the wetlands, Beach Cove, and Indian River Bay. So the peninsula truly is a separate and distinct area. Because it's not incorporated, I'm sure people don't pay too much attention to it. And I would fully expect that the lady and gentleman on the Sussex County Council have probably heard about it, but I believe the only one who would have a daily appreciation of it is Councilman Cole. And now that I think of it, that's one of the primary designs for this video, is to try and get it up to Sussex County Council and offer it to them to review as they consider this entire project. Hopefully this gave you at least a decent hairy homeowner presentation of the style of life that we have here in the Cedar Neck Road Peninsula. And I believe that concludes it. What do you say? Is that it?
Yeah.